Hello, I'm Tim Clark and welcome to CVG's Call of Duty Ghosts E3 Instant Reaction video. I'm joined by Leon Hurley from the official PlayStation magazine.
Hello.
Matt Elliott, also from CVG.
Right.
Boys, what did you make of it? Leon, you've already been out to see Call of Duty Ghosts at Infinity Ward.
Yeah, so I went out to see the pre-reveal event from the Xbox One show. So I saw the In the Deep. I saw a lot of tech demos showing off their kind of shiny next-gen lighting and stuff. I still to see anything that sort of doesn't feel like it's another COD. I don't mean that in a bad way, because they're always good games, but they're making out like it's some huge paradigm shift in the series, and it looks like more COD.
I saw the whole show was interesting because I've been saying for a couple of years now that I'm surprised that more software publishers don't just almost sidestep E3 and go direct to the public and beam footage of their new games straight to them in that kind of extended, here's a load of gameplay sort of way. And this was them doing, well, this was one of the most high-profile examples of that. And in that Into the Deep, which was the first of two levels they showed off, they had Twitter people coming up on the bottom left of the screen with their opinions, and one of them was saying, oh, amazing next-gen fish, look how they moved away from the scuba men. I couldn't tell if they were joking or not. I think that maybe they were.
Well, it's not things. It's one of the things they kept mentioning when they were showing it to me, going, oh, the fish have got their own AI. They seem to be really proud that the fish have their own AI and will react to you as you swim close. And it seemed odd that someone was tweeting exactly the thing that developers talk about.
Some of those accounts I looked like, not wanting to cast aspersions, but it did seem to have like an oddly low number of followers and tweets, but I'm sure they were kosher. Matt, what did you make of the Into the Deep stuff, the scuba bit? You said it was like James Bond?
It's very slightly like James Bond. Yeah, if I'm honest, I was probably more excited by what we saw in No Man's Land, but it looked nice, it looked lovely, and the sort of the combat stuff sort of felt a little bit kind of sort of staccato. It came and it went. I didn't really get any kind of sense of it being sort of like, you know, if you miss, you're going to fail.
I mean, it felt like to me like an Underseas version, a Finding Nemo version of the All Gillied Up level, where you had, you know, a kind of a man with quite a serious voice in your ear telling you to move up and take a guy out. And so in the sense of it being like another COD, I definitely can see what you guys mean. I mean, it's tough to be too judgmental about what you saw from, you know, the visuals or the sort of technical side of things, because we're watching, you know, on a stream and you get kind of quite a lot of digital break on that. It's a bit like playing on live. But were you impressed by kind of what you saw, Leon?
I think it's hard to judge, but that sort of things, like if you watch someone play All Gillied Up, it would just be a man walking around for a while. But when you play, it's like one of the most amazing sort of, that one level is better than most video games in their entirety.
And I think in that sense, it's quite brave actually that they chose that level as the first one that they show people, because All Gillied Up is a thing that a lot of people hark back to as kind of saying COD is no longer dynamic. It's all just one note, like Eiffel Towers falling over from start to finish. Like, the moment you said that, I'm kind of more excited about it than perhaps I was looking at it. I think this looks a little bit boring. But if that's the kind of calm bit before.
But in terms of raw, I mean, if we're going to be like brutal about this, in terms of like raw visual juice, which is a thing, it didn't look like it's a disgusting thing. It didn't look vastly different to, you know, if you're playing Far Cry 3 or Bioshock Infinite on a decent PC now, or certainly Crisis 3.
I think on the PC side of it, it doesn't look like a huge advancement, but I guess for consoles, especially like 8-year-old consoles that haven't updated their hardware, you know, obviously in their whole life cycle, it does look like a leap forward.
And I suppose that's the element, and I think we're going to talk a lot about this over E3 with games that are coming to current gen consoles and next gen consoles. You're going to get that kind of the Venn diagram bit where they've had to overlap for the same kind of assets to be coming out on two different systems. But if you did want something brand new, you got it later on with the second level, which was called
No Man's Land.
And that was called No Man's Land because it featured a dog.
The dog, yeah.
Riley the dog.
What do you make of Riley as a name? I've got a dog called Batman. I think Riley's a less cool name than Batman.
I don't know. The dog's an interesting idea. I'm not sure, like, when they showed you controlling him, it just made me think of like bits like the robot spider in Black Ops 2.
It's like a furry missile, like a furry drone missile.
Yeah, and it looked like there was a press X to bark kind of thing. He barked a couple of times.
You're hoping there's a press
I'm
X
hoping,
to bark.
Do you think you can unlock the dog Jason's?
Yeah. If there's a bark button, that's basically the only button I'm pressing.
The dog jumped through the window. I thought it was a nice animation, and then seemed to barrel 4 people out the door, and then you have one of those like the siege break moments. The breach. Yeah. That's the right word for it.
Brilliant, ridiculous. I'm not sure. I like the 4 people being chased.
Ridiculous.
The funny thing in the presentation was they're going, because you always have to kind of pay fealty to the community. They're going, we love what the community have done with the dog. But surely, like, the meme has been like people joking about it.
People have done terrible things with that dog.
I thought the dog looked cool though. And I'd be, do you think? Obviously, it's not a spoiler because we don't know what happens. But we watching it all felt certain that either the dog or his handler will get the bullet by the end of
Absolutely,
it.
yeah.
It's like Team Ico kind of games, isn't it? Once you've introduced two characters, one or t'other is not going to see the credits.
The only alternative that we thought maybe was that like the last section, you know, the slow-mo bit where they roll the gun across the floor to you. Maybe that's when you'll be just in charge of the dog. The dog will be the only one left.
No, I tell you what will happen is the dog will somehow be apparently killed in an explosion or a truck rolling off a cliff or something, and then right at the end when it looks like you're about to get killed,
There you go, kids. Don't bother playing Call of Duty Ghosts. Leon's told you what's going to
he'll
happen.
come leaping out of the smoke and like 80s action style, grab the guy's gun.
Yeah, or take a bullet for you.
Yes.
Yeah.
Good. Good. I'd like it if just the dog survives.
Yeah, that's right,
It's
yeah.
the dog walking to the sunset. But just before we wrap up, I wonder if the interesting thing is what we didn't see really. Like the game, as I understand it, is set 10 years, is it, after summer
Well, they said
climactic event?
They said 10 years later on the trailer, but I know when I interviewed Zach Volker, the lead animator, he said that the player and his brother have grown up in this world, and it's all they've ever known. So the implication is that these two grown men,
Should make
who,
them 10.
Or their kids.
well,
yeah.
or they were very young when it happened, but supposedly all they've ever known is this kind of ruined post-apocalyptic America, or this sort of fallen on hard times America.
So, but why is America falling on hard times?
They keep talking about this as being a mass event, I think was what Mark Rubin called it. Some kind of unspecified mass event that somehow
It looks
ruined...
environmental, doesn't it?
Yeah, well, some concept art and some bits in one of the trailers that looked like something's crashing down, possibly meteors.
Well, that was it. Yeah, I thought in the trailer you saw red fiery meteors or something similar
Yeah.
streaking down from the sky, and then in the second level we saw in the live show, it appeared they were circling a huge crater, didn't they? And there were guys in hazmat suits and
And also in the trailer at the end, every time it showed like a sort of where the ghosts were operating, it showed the logo sort of slam into the map, and there was like a little puff of impact sort of dust.
Don't you think meteors suggest Day of the Triffids? I think huge giant plants. That's why we haven't seen much of the enemies. They're going to come stuttering out of the undergrowth.
Well, the
I am
the
so
enemies,
if that's what it is.
the
That'd be
enemies we saw
amazing.
were wandering around with hazmat suits and sort of Geiger counters. It looked like there was some kind of contamination or something. That was
Those were plant detectors, Leon.
Because that's a thing.
That's a thing now, yes.
So yeah, I think partial approval for the Call of Duty Ghost reveal. We'll be back all through the week of E3, a rotating cast of experts, I'm going to say, to talk about the big games of the show and what the different console manufacturers have revealed. So don't forget to hit subscribe if you want to see some more of that good stuff.